Hey everyone, it's Amador, and welcome to another episode of Wizard Wednesday, which is something I haven't had a chance to keep up with, but I've been wanting to make this a project, and I know Harry Potter's birthday has just passed, but so many things, life happens and whatnot, so you don't get a chance. But I'm like, you know what, let me share this, hopefully this helps other people figure this out, because I wanted to do it, and these are faux cakes, as you can see right here. You can also make them on real cakes, but this way you can use them as decor if you want. You can put it away for next year, whatever. Or if you want to do it now, and you can do it and just put it away for next year. Now, I have all my supplies and all the instructions here. I just wanted to show you guys what I ended up with. I really, like I said, been wanting to do this. Where is it? I messed one up. You'll see in the video, so you'll see the process and everything. I even have a full tutorial at the end of the video. The first half is the cake, and the second half is the actual box that these smaller cakes, these 4-inch cakes, go into. So you can make it from scratch and everything, all the way down to the little finer details right there. And one thing I don't show, I think, is that I got some ribbon from one of the big box stores. This one is like a purplish. I should have gotten a darker one, but this one is 0.95 centimeters, so 3/8 of an inch. This is the width that I use for this. And look, this one I even squished and everything and sat on, because of course in the movie Hagrid does sit on the cake before he gives it to Harry. And so yeah, so that is it. So you guys check it out. Look, here's the bottom. I didn't put anything on the bottom. I don't know why. I think because I wanted to lay flat completely. So I made two sizes. So let's stick around for the tutorial. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys do this, go ahead and tag me. And I'm super excited to share this with you guys. All right, let's get this going. All right, now let's get started. We have here all of the supplies that I'm going to be using, and I started out with the discs. I got these at any of the craft stores. They are 5.8 inches by 3.8 for the larger one, and that has two of them, and then the smaller one is 1.18 inches by 0.9, and it is a set of 6, I think it was. Also, the dab lightweight spackle. If you want your cake to be heavier, go ahead and use regular spackle. I use the lightweight because it'll be easier to ship if I choose to send these to friends. Now, with these two colors, this is the Folk Art Tickled Pink, and I ended up using more of the Tickled Pink and not the Ballet one. And these from Apple Barrel, I ended up using the Parakeet. I didn't use the lighter one. In retrospect, I should have probably used a darker green, but it was still cute. It still worked out. So here I have some disposable plates because I want to go ahead and mix everything. But first, we're going to go ahead and adhere the foam circles because I wanted it to be 2-layer thick circles, and I used some E6000. Also, I learned that you shouldn't probably use E6000 because it releases air or gas or whatever while it dries. And I wanted to use some hot glue, of course, just to hold it down right away while the E6000 does its job. So I just put something on top of it while I was putting them together. I was originally only going to do one large cake and one small cake, but then I mixed so much of the pink spackle that I had left over, so I'm like, you know what, let's go for it. I already had the circles, which was 6 circles, and I made 3 cakes for the smaller ones, and I said, let's go for it. And you figure out what I learned from the pink. You see here I use some of the pink, the darker pink, and then the lighter pink, but then I realized I should have remembered that once you mix it with the spackle, which is a white-ish, kind of grayish spackle, it'll lighten your color. So I went ahead and added some more of the tickled pink of the paint to actually give it more of the color. So in retrospect, you don't need the lighter pink because you saw I kept putting some more color in it just to kind of give it a better color. So yeah, I figured I would have learned from making so much pink spackle that I made so much green spackle and I had so much left over. But it's okay because I can do another project with it. Now here I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to stand my large circle because I'm going ahead and with a little spatula with these clay spackle tools. I forgot what they're called. You can get them at the craft store. They're super inexpensive. I wanted to start layering the cake, and then I realized, well, how am I going to do the part that I'm holding after I put on gloves, of course, because I didn't want spackle all up in my fingernails and stuff. I decided to then adhere it to this disposable paper bowl. But see right here, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen? And then boom, I hot glued it a little bit to the bowl so I can hold it. And also it elevates it so it can dry completely from the bottom parts. I don't put any spackle on the bottom because it's not going to be seen, honestly. I'm like, whatever. but I go ahead and I try to smooth it, and then I said, you know what, it's too smooth, so I just did some lightweight, some light texturing and whatnot. And you see here I'm actually scraping it off the bottom so it doesn't dry hard, and then it like makes your cake lopsided. Nobody wants a lopsided cake. I mean, Hagrid actually sat on it, so you know, whatever. But you want yours to look like you actually dried. And let's see, here is the bigger one. I started with the bigger one because, and see right here I am comparing it. I am comparing it to the picture that I saw. And here is what I've learned. I've learned some good things and some bad things. I learned that spackle is super light, and that I should have made these lines on all of my cakes after I put on the letters, because it really restricts you. If you really want it to look screen accurate, it restricts you on where you put your letters. And some of them in my first one, not good, not a good deal. So I go ahead and then I'm like, okay, I'm doing the second one, I mean the smaller one, and I decided to automatically to put it on something. So we have these little teacups from tea set. I just went ahead and hot glued it to the bottom of it so it would help it stand. Same principle as the paper bowl. But I went ahead and just started spackling the heck out of it. And I just felt that as you go on, it's a lot easier. But in certain parts, as you're trying to lay down the spackle, it lifts up. So you have to kind of make sure that it sticks on there so it doesn't like come off. It easily comes off. Because as you're completely finishing off the top, you see right here, I'm trying to finish the top and smooth it out. I was adding some in some little corners because it was kind of lifting up, but it worked. It stayed on there with just a good touch, and it was no problem. I don't spackle all of them on camera because, like I said, this is something I'm like, I stopped it to go get a drink of water or something, and then I'm like, okay, let's just do all the rest of them. But I went ahead and did that, and whatever was left over, I just went ahead and saved it in a baggie, because in the movie there was icing in the box, and I wanted to do that as well too, because I'm nuts. I'm crazy. Why not? You're already here. So I'm going to go ahead and now create the green. I was thinking, oh, this won't be barely enough, and this and that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, no. Like I said, like you see here, I only use the parakeet, and it's very, very lime-ish kind of green. In retrospect, I should have had like a touch of like a regular Kelly green or just a regular forest green. But it still worked out. It was totally good to go. And I go ahead and just make sure I have it mixed completely well, and I will then put it in a piping bag. This isn't going to be speckled on. It needs to be piped on for the letters. So I went ahead and just added all of that to the actual bag right here, and then I just snipped the tip to go ahead and letter the cakes. And so in any crafter's situation, you learn as you go. Because this was my first attempt, I just went at it all, you know, balls to the wall, let's see what happens. Then I remembered, hey, I need to practice my lettering. So here I am practicing my lettering with the icing. And if you notice, I went ahead and I should have drawn some circles right here on the paper with the foam circles so I could have a template. And I just looked on the screen as I'm watching Harry Potter, actually while I'm doing this, where I went ahead and decided to make the template myself so you can practice with the icing, with the green icing. And this is the one that I'm showing you how I'm doing it for the larger one. As you can see, I draw the lines, the break lines and stuff like that, but then I realized, okay, it's not going to be as easy as I thought. But here is my sample. I went ahead and crossed my fingers. So this is where I realized I was not recording any of the actual piping, and I was halfway through the birthday. But here I am using this one. Oh, and the good thing is if you let your cake dry a little bit, if you make any boo-boos, you can lift up the icing, your green icing, because it hasn't fully settled. But here I am going ahead lining it, but I practiced it quite a bit to make sure that I had my letters going on. But yes, I realized I just was not practicing. And this is the smaller one. So now I'm moving on to the larger one. I thought I don't remember how I recorded this. Obviously, I'm losing my mind. So what I did is, the reason why I did the smaller ones first is because I wanted to use the same piping bag, and then I wanted to go ahead and make the hole a little bit bigger so it would be more conducive to the actual size of the cake. Now, if you notice here, I went ahead and left this part in because I realized I made the hole way too big. So I went ahead and had to get another one, because even if you press lighter, you just want to have the right size hole. I mean, hey. So I go ahead and I pipe it into another bag, and I start over for the larger cake to get my correct sizing going. And you see, I practice, and I wanted to make it look as close to as possible, even though my handwriting on there wasn't the same as in the movie. I remember that, like, how they had their R's and the B's and stuff like that. But here is this one, you see, and I keep going, snipping a little by little, just so I can make sure that I have the right width of icing. And you can use piping tips and stuff like that, but for these tipless bags, they're pretty sturdy, and you don't really need to use that. And here I am just finishing off. As you see the Y, there's 2 loops on the Y. It was because the first one I messed up, and I just went ahead and just said, you know what, let's try it again with the big one, with another one. So here I am trying to go, and I always start from the middle when I try to do these things, to make sure that you have enough room. But not only that, these break lines on the cake kind of indicate where everything is going. But at this point, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to make the lettering fit as it looked like in the movie, as opposed to along the lines, because like I said, in retrospect, go ahead and make those lines afterwards. And you see right here, I made a boo-boo and just picked it right back up with a spoon, only because this cake was sitting out for, I think it was like an hour, so it had a little bit of, it was already solid, but it wasn't completely dry. And you see right here, also I go from the top crack over here where I do the happy with the double E, and I try to make it look as good as possible, you guys. Which is funny, because my sister and I are now in a small cookie business, and you'd figure I'd be able to do this. Didn't work out that way. So that is the main work of it all. All right, so now here are my cakes, and as you can see, like I said, I did realize I was not recording everything. So this one is the first one that I did. I did the lines. I totally recommend you do the lines afterwards, but Charlie was not working, and it went on as we went. This is probably the better one, but they are ready. They've been sitting out. I put them outside for about an hour and a half, then I brought them inside so I can get measurements. Now what we're going to do is actually make a box for this little one to fit in there perfectly, because of course it has to come up with the box, right? And we just need a little ribbon, and you are good to go. So let's go ahead and make this little box. Now, wow. And you can see, look, it's naked at the bottom. The reason I'm doing the smaller box, because it takes 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 heavyweight cardstock to do, and I haven't figured out, I think I can, but this would take, to do this one would take more than 2 12 by 12 cards. It's very hard to find heavyweight cardstock, but I feel that it actually wouldn't close all the way on itself. The lid would be, I think, like half an inch short here. So let me know if you want to figure that out. If you want me to do that, I will go ahead and do that. But for now, we're going to, for the big one, go ahead and do this for the smaller box. So like I said, you need a 2 cardstock, heavyweight cardstock, 8 1/4 by 9 1/2. So we can go ahead and start scoring. So you start at 2 1/2. With the landscape side, you could do 2 1/2. Here you will also do 2 1/2, and you will also score on the portrait at 7. And then we just rotate it again, and you will score again at 2 1/2. And you will do this for both of your cardstocks. So let's start this one. Let's do this one again. Or also you can calculate it this way. You do on the landscape, 2 1/2 on both sides. I just like doing it this way. I feel like I get a better hold on the paper this way if I'm scoring it here at 2 1/2 as opposed to scoring it over here. So on the portrait, you score at 2 1/2 again, and at 7. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and put that aside. Let's go ahead and fold this. You're going to cut the edges so we can create the box. Ideally, what we're making is a top and a bottom for the cake. So let's see here if I can figure my life out here. All right. Now on the portrait side, going portrait, you're going to cut into the tabs up to the score, and to the score, this one you want to snip off a little bit to miter it. It's easier to align them with the top part and what you actually want aligned. All right, there's that one. Here we go. And again, on the portrait side, you want to go ahead and cut to the first score line, well, to the only score line, and take off a little bit, just a little bit really, you don't need a lot. But if you end up snipping off more than you need, it's fine, because you won't see that on the outside. All right, and the last one. Now let me see if I can zoom out. Now this is the box, the two parts of your box, your lid and your base. And here we go. Now what we are going to do is we're going to basically connect this. You're going to flip it over to the back. You're going to align them. And now you're going to take, and of course I forgot to tell you, a 2.5 by 5, 2.5 by, not 5, 2.5 by 4.5, basically one of the side panels, to make the back part and to make it solid. All right, so now let's go ahead and do that. And you can do this before. I've learned that it's much easier if you do it now, because then you don't have to fuss with a fully assembled box. And you want to make sure you get quite a bit of tape on here because you're connecting two pieces, okay? All right, so if you need to do it this way might be easier like this. You're going to align it into right over, what did I pick up? Align it right on the back parts here. And then this part, however it might be easier for you to do it, you can do it, and then you just connect. You're making a solid piece. And then on the back, it'll be like that. All right. Now, I totally recommend that you use liquid glue. I'm going to use ATG tape just because it's going to be much easier to go ahead and put this box together. But if I'm making these to give as gifts, I would use wet glue. I personally kind of have lost my faith in score tape, because I use it, like most people, use it for treat boxes and stuff like that. And I can honestly tell you that I have had it fail on me repeatedly, because it's, if you think about it, it's a piece of adhesive on itself, so it could come off. Whereas wet glue, it adheres to the actual body of paper. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So if you notice, I really don't use a lot of score tape anymore, except for maybe for like a tutorial like this or whatever. All right, let's go ahead and just put adhesive. And I know you're thinking it's a lot of adhesive. That's why I'm saying use wet glue, because wet glue goes a lot further than most of the tape runners. All right. Now, whichever way you want to start, we're going to start at the top. See, and this way you align it. Flip it over here. You want it to align with the edge. And make sure that you go over with your bone folder to make sure you have that good hold. All right. Now here you can do the other end or the center, whichever one. Let's do the center part. These two parts are now, probably would help if we mitered that one, mitered that one. All right. because that way you can now adhere the bottom to the base, and then that to that. Again, just go all the way down to the bottom to adhere that one, and then we're going to adhere this right to the edge. Again, make sure that you are getting in here, pressing that down, and now we're going to assemble. I know this is all over the place. Assemble the top on both sides, and press them down, and easy peasy, you have made a full box. Now you can also put a panel of paper right here if you want, but honestly, let's see, get your sweet delicious cake, pop it in there, and nobody is paying attention. Since you also have the extra spackle, you can also put spackle here and here. I know that there was in the movie it was spackled in there because, I mean, it had some icing on there because Hagrid did sit on it. So there you go. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys try this out. If you do, tag me. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be taking some pictures so I can put this on my blog. Also, if you feel that you've gotten too much of paper at the end, see, look, I feel like a little bit of paper stuck out, just snip it off. Snip it off. I have made several mistakes learning how to do this. So, and this box, literally just, I figured it out like half an hour ago. So if it's not perfect, doesn't make sense, I am sorry. I could have made the box small enough, smaller to be right snug with the cake, but I figured that these measurements, I like easy measurements, like halves and whole inches, not like 1/97th of an inch. Like, you guys, come on. Let's make this fun. But there you go. Now I just need to go get my ribbon. It's a purple ribbon, which I don't have. Can you believe that? But I am going to go get it so I can complete my sweet, sweet Harry Potter birthday cake. So hope you guys like it. Let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.